This is the 19th season of Bass Talk Live. BTL is presented by Bass Cat Boats, Strike King Lures, Aftco, Pro Guide Batteries, X-Zone Lures, Shoreline Boat and RV Repair, SPRO, Gamakatsu, Big Bite Baits, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, Beatdown Outdoors, and Sunline.
BTL coming at you.
Good morning and welcome to another exciting edition of BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk about bass fishing. Folks, I've been geeked out for this show for a long time. It actually kind of came together last minute earlier this week. I mentioned earlier this week I got a lot of questions. Well, I've been getting a lot of questions and comments, even though I have nothing to do with it. They're like, hey, when is the SPRO KGB Swimbait coming out? They pumped it at ICAST a couple years ago, and then it was just like a waiting game. And now all of a sudden I'm seeing, the tackle companies are starting to get it. I know that Lucky Lure and OKC last night posted, holy cow, they came in. They'll be on the shelves in the morning. Guys are selling out in minutes. The back orders are getting filled. And I'm a kind of a closet swim bait guy. I dabble in it. I know enough to be proficient, not enough to be dangerous. But one of the cool things about BTL, SPRO sponsors the show. And I know Syd Rives, who is I think he's a national sales manager, head honcho dude over at SPRO, but he also fishes. So he's got his pulse on this thing. And I remember him, we were at some media event a couple years ago, and he was talking about, dude, I got this thing that if it freaking happens, I'm going to be so excited about it. And it's really revolutionary in the industry when it comes to taking a handmade garage bait that's been around since 2012 and really has a crazy underground following, and then the steps that it takes to bring it to the masses to make it available to everybody. So we're going to jump into that. We have I teased that we might have a special guest. We do. We have Kevin Brightwell, the owner, founder, creator, the brains behind the KGB Swimbaits, and Syd. So we're going to bring both of those guys in right now, and we're going to jump right into the show today. All right, Syd, thank you for jumping on. You're at the top there. It has to be exciting to finally, after a year and a half, see these things hitting the shelf.
Yes, it is. What's even more exciting to me, and I told Kevin this from the beginning, I was like, look, we can make anything that's going to look like your bait, but the fact that, he has been able to design something that works very well too has been an amazing deal. I give all the credit to him. I mean, he's done a great job creating a unbelievable action on the bait. He's been a part of this thing since the very beginning. It's his deal. It's kind of one of those things where I'm just kind of in the middle. We have the manufacturing capabilities to be able to get it out to the masses, and it has taken a lot longer than we thought, but we had to get it right. And I think that the bait that we came out with was right.
All right, down on the bottom, Kevin Brightwell, the brains behind KGB. Dude, what has the last 5-6 years been like for you? I mean, you're like a folk hero in the underground swim bait world, and then all of a sudden it started to go mainstream. Like, you're literally like the industry's crack dealer. As quickly as you could get them up and get them out there, I mean, everything's gone. It's had to have been a wild ride because, I mean, you started this thing 10 years ago, former firefighter, correct? Carved a bait out of a piece of cedar, tinkered with it, was like, holy cow, this thing catches fish. And now here we are, one of the most sought after specialty bait makers in the country.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind. And a lot of it is I just stuck to what I was excited about and stuck to making baits that I wanted to fish. Went from garage, actually when this all first started, I was in my dad's basement's garage, and had one table and just kind of stuck with it. It was more of it was passion driven. It was kind of, it was making some extra money. I always had hopes it would go somewhere. But it wasn't really super profitable. And then we found out we were pregnant with my son, and that was kind of the turning point. That was, okay, let's either this really time consuming and expensive hobby is going to have to kind of take a back seat and just really be low key and just for myself, or we're going to go all in. And we decided to go all in and pushed at it really hard we had 9 months to prepare and see if this thing is viable or not. And after he was born, I still stuck with the fire service for a little while just to gain some comfort and some security there. And man, one day it was just time. It was just time to go all in on the baits, and we did. We pushed really hard and made it happen.
In case you've been living under a rock, let's just get kind of the basic, the foundation out of the way. What exactly it is that you make? We've talked about the swim baits and stuff. I don't know if you have any there. I can pull the website. I don't know. I mean, I've got one right here, but yeah. So just kind of describe for the listeners and viewers who are what KGB like bait, like what the heck is this thing? How would you describe it?
Right. So just larger swim baits, and they're solid resin. We've got kind of our own blend and stuff that we use. But yeah, it's just solid resin swim baits, and I try to go after I like realism, and I have a certain swim style that I like, and I just build baits that I prefer. I'm not going to put something out. There's some. So I'm not going to put something out unless it's something that I would use and use to catch a lot of fish and big fish. In the West Coast, it's all about trout. That's why I picked up swim baiting. I lived on the West Coast for a while.
Okay.
And it was all about trout. Moved back to Arkansas, where I was originally from. And it was all about bluegill and shad and crappie and that kind of stuff. So I started kind of focusing on what I was using, and I figured, I could make trout baits for sure, but I was really getting specialized in bluegill and shad. And shad just kind of took hold. That was the one that was catching the most fish. And so I focused on my area and what was performing best for me and just really tried to hone in on that.
Then when did it really take off for you when you were, my question is, what makes you so good at this? Is this a skill? Is it a talent? Like, did you have any background in this? There's tons of bait makers. What do you think made yours go through the roof when there's very few guys? You can name the list on all 10 fingers of guys who have baits that are sought after like yours are.
I think it's a combination of a few things. I think it's timing. When I got into this, I've been in it for quite a while now. Before CAD was really readily available or 3D printing was available. So, everything I did was carved. A lot of trial and error. So it's timing. I got in before like the mad rush, before COVID turned everybody into a homemade bait maker. Before it became easy with CAD systems and all that stuff. Like, I don't know. I just trial and error, timing, and then just trying to treat people right and good customer service. I've kind of got the business set up a little bit different now to handle customer service better than I was able to. I was getting overwhelmed with it, and it almost put me in like shutdown mode. I couldn't respond to everyone. And it's like I didn't feel right selecting, so I almost just quit responding to people. Well, we're a lot better about that now. I've got that set up. I've got somebody in the position to do that. And so customer service goes a long ways. If somebody spends their hard-earned money on your bait, especially when you're talking, $160, $170 bait, and something doesn't perform right about it, take care of that customer. They spent their hard-earned money on it. So, at least take a look at the bait, give them pointers on how to fix it. If they can, and then you try to take care of them the best you can.
So it's interesting. You mentioned timing. You mentioned the COVID. Syd, I want to throw it to you now because it seems like you kind of became aware of the KGB, the SWIMBAIT, and the timing with what was going on at SPRO and what you were doing and the expansion of SPRO and their lineup. It seemed that was a perfect mesh for you guys to kind of take a risk, go out on a limb. Is that a fair assessment that it was like really good timing on both parts?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in there's things happen for a reason, and this was just this this was just perfect, the perfect timing, the perfect everything. I mean, and Kevin's a great partner to work with. He's been extremely, understanding with the manufacturing process and getting all this done. SPRO's been expanding too. I mean, we just moved into a brand new warehouse. Matt, you hadn't been to see me yet, but
October when I come down for the open.
Okay, so we've got a brand new facility here. It's not open to the public, but it's something that we would like to show off because we are proud of it. It took us a while to get in here, and it's been unbelievable. Our shipping's going out the door really, really fast, and it's a neat little deal. But going back to the KGB thing, it just seemed like kind of the stars aligned a little bit with the way it happened. Kevin called in to our office and needed some treble hooks for his own baits.
Cold.
And the girls always transferred the OEM people to me. So they transferred them to me, and I just happened to see on the caller ID KGB Swimbaits, and it happens to be something. Excuse me, my little light just went off in my room. It just happens to be something that that I knew about because I was trying to get some, and you couldn't. And it was like, if you didn't do it in like 5 minutes, you weren't getting them. So, I was like, hey, the timing's kind of right. We no longer have a swim bait person. So, would you like to do a collaboration with us? And the first thing he says to me is no. I'm like, okay, well, that's cool and all, but let me see if I can get you these treble hooks. And I think it kind of went around in his brain a little bit, and then he goes, a collaboration, what? And I told him the deal, and it seemed like he was the type of guy that I wanted to work with too, and it's been extremely nice. It's been a good partnership, and I think things are going the right way. I also think, we do need to kind of, he's got his own thing going on over there with KGB. It's a handmade bait. It takes a lot of time, and he cannot make a ton of them. He can make a good number of them, but he can't make, 50,000 of them in a year of that style bait being a handmade resin bait. So we figured we could do this and make it something that is a very good plastic bait in that Chad Shad and bring it to the masses. And that's what we did. And, it really has elevated our brand. It's elevating his brand. And it's been a great collaboration, and it's been a cool little deal.
Kevin, if you need to roll and take care of your son, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, come on in here.
Well, he's part of the reason why all this is happening. So,
okay.
Hi, Benson.
How are you? Oh, Benson. I think there might be a bait named after you. Is there a bait named after you, Benson?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Isn't that like the big one?
Yeah.
The fancy one?
And look what he's playing with.
That'd be a June bug trick worm, I believe.
Yep.
So right. I think what you're saying, Syd, is so let me pull this up and see. So I want to get into the logistics of this, because that's where the magic really happens and where you had to really kind of tackle a gorilla and take it with all the weighting and stuff. But Kevin, you still make your resin baits. Mm-hmm. You're still selling those. Those are still on the KGB website, and you will continue. It's not like you're like, hey, SPRO makes all these, and SPRO. Let me see if I can pull this up here, because this is where I think a lot of people are getting confused. So there's the SPRO right there. Very, very similar. Okay. Has a lot of the same elements, but it is a plastic bait, correct?
Yes.
So
I'm going to step out for just a second, get him set up.
Yeah, have at it, man. Have at it.
Good. I'm going to give him something real quick. He woke up earlier than I thought, so.
No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll talk to Syd about it. Okay. So, Syd, the the problem is, how do you go from this bait that is handmade, hand tested on every single one, and make it mass and make it still work like this? Because the beauty in this bait is how it works. And that's where the brain trust had to go to work to figure out how to make an affordable bait out of a different type of material that had the same weight, properties, and action that catches fish like this one, right?
It went through a ton of trial and error. we had to go through a lot of baits. We had to go do. We did a lot of deals with the, just screw in joints and everything. Trying to get everything that was to his specs. And you could not just copy the resin bait. You had to do some other stuff that we won't get into because it's kind of proprietary. But we had to do some other stuff that kind of changed the action a little bit to make it where that plastic bait would have that same action or very similar action. The other thing that we had the advantage of with it being plastic is consistency. So once we get it to the way it should be acting, we were able to consistently make the baits that action. That is the one good thing about the plastic is you can make it consistent, a lot more consistent than maybe the resin. But that being said, those resin baits, you're gonna get it's like having a Ferrari versus a Chevrolet a little bit there. So Kevin's making kind of the Ferraris, the handmade stuff, the guy that's really wanting that super tricked out custom made bait. That's what Kevin's got. What I've got is something made for the masses. You're going to be a little bit more comfortable maybe throwing our bait around a brush pile or up next to a dock or something like that than maybe his bait that's a little bit more expensive. So, we know we were not trying to, make something that was going to put Kevin out of business or anything like that. We were trying to work hand in hand with what he's doing.
And then how had you heard about it? Was it just because you're an angler too? You have your ear to the ground, you associate with people who catch fish?
I'm a bass geek. I'm certified bass geek. I mean, I may not be the best fisherman in the world. I don't, you don't see me, at the top of the tournament standings or anything like that.
Me either.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that being said, I love to fish. It's my passion. It's what I study every day. I eat, sleep, and breathe it. And that's part of the reason why I knew what it is. And I'll have to, my general manager, he's not in right now, but Kazu, he's
ate up with it. Kazu just wants to fish and eat meat.
Yeah.
That's his two things in life.
Same way. So that's all we do. That it literally is sad. I mean, we'll go on, 8-hour road trips and we'll talk about Japanese bass fishing and American bass fishing and what's going on in both places. And he's got his finger on the pulse and all that kind of stuff too. So that's how I'd heard of the KGB Swimbaits. And actually I was seeking them,
right,
for my personal baits. So that's how it happened.
Okay. So Kevin, question to you then.
Yeah.
You've made your reputation on this. You're selling these things for 130 to 200 plus a pop based on the bait. You're in it for a decade. You've got a kid. Was it tough to put your reputation on the line, your name, this bait you had designed to a massive SPRO Gamakatsu corporation? And how did you have the trust to work with them to know that they were going to put out something that you stood behind with the name, the Chad Shad, the KGB collaboration, and that it wasn't just going to be a money grab deal?
Right. Yeah, it was definitely like, it was a huge concern and risk. I didn't know what was going to, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I did know through conversations with Syd that we weren't going to put out something unless I approved it. And
okay,
I wasn't going to approve something that I didn't feel confident in, whether that took, a year to design, 2 years, 10 years, it didn't matter. For me, I wasn't going to sign off on it until I approved of it. And I really wanted to test them and make sure they worked as they were designed to work, as I wanted them they do perform differently than the resin baits by just a little bit.
Now your doorbell's going off.
Someone's at the door.
We could go back to Syd if you got to answer the door, man. Like I said, you
I'm
said,
not
hey,
expecting anyone.
you
I don't
said,
know
hey,
who it is.
you said, hey, I got Benson, my son here. You said I'll work it in as best as I can. So I'm totally fine if we do that, because we could go back to Syd, because there's a bunch of production questions for Syd too. If you got to.
Yeah, I hear whoever it is. It's probably some lawn company. They keep trying to get.
Okay.
They keep trying to fertilize my yard without permission.
I had a buddy who came over and just fertilized my yard the other day. It looks phenomenal now, except I got a dang gopher that keeps digging holes. So you would get.
But they're leaving. It's okay.
Why?
Because they're leaving.
No.
I've got one at home. Oh my
I'll
goodness.
be right back. Sorry.
Okay.
It's so awesome.
So Syd, you would get models of the Chad Shad in the plastic, different weights, send it to Kevin. Kevin would come back and say, no, not right. Then you'd redo it.
not
You'd
right.
do the whole thing. Then you'd send it back
Sinks
to
too
Kevin.
fast, sinks too slow, floats, doesn't have the right action, it's not gliding. It's, and there's some ways that you can make that happen. And he really, kind of helped us with the learning curve of how that a glide bait works. And the guy, he just knew what to do. It was a pretty cool deal.
I think you knew this was going to be a big deal. Did you have any concept of how big it would be when you put these things up for pre-order on a number of different websites before, or was that even a little bit surprising to you as to how many people wanted to get their hands on one of these things at $60 a pop?
Well, I'll tell you what happened a little bit is, we had this little thing called COVID that went around the world, and it kind of shut down one of my factories, or we would have had them a lot earlier than what we did. We had some production issues there at the beginning, and that was a lot of the issue. But once we're up and running now, we're able to get a lot of baits out. I think in the last, I'd say 3 months is probably been about 15,000 baits that have gone out. So it's been good. So we're starting to get caught up, starting to get everything out the door. So, that was part of it. And, I felt really, really bad for a lot of the guys that pre-ordered that weren't able to get baits. And, I was sitting here stressing about it too, because on my side, you got to look at it as, we can make anything, but I'm not going to put out junk. And that's what I was really, really afraid of with this first couple of batches that came out, as they wouldn't be up to Kevin's expectation or our expectation. And that's what we were very, very scared of. And it just so happens that the ones that we've gotten and we've built so far, they've been really, really good baits.
Kevin, is there a pickier group of anglers that you have come to know than the custom and high-end swim bait group of anglers? Or are they? You're dealing with like the Gucci's, the Louis Vuittons, the guys. I mean, that's the type of baits they're buying. Right.
The guys who are buying this, or at least the hardcore swim baiters, we built this bait to go to just anybody. That's why I partnered up with SPRO. So anybody, the average Joe, can go get it. It's small enough, light enough that you can throw it on just about regular bass gear on your heavier setups. But as far as like the hardcore swim bait culture, yeah, they're a very vocal crowd. I don't want to say that they're too picky. It's just they're going to spend a lot of money. They want it to be right. They want it to be what they expect. So I guess in some ways that makes them picky. I don't want to say it, but yeah, it does. And they're vocal about it. I mean, who wouldn't be? If you're, let's say you're take any other niche genre, whether it's fishing or any other kind of sport, and you're spending the most money doing it. You want your product to be right, and when it's not, you're going to say something. I mean, we're talking to the guys who are, they're kind of, extravagant guys. They may not seem like it, but a lot of these guys, they may not have a ton of money to spend. So some of these guys, they may save up for, 4 or 5 paychecks in order to spend that extra little bit to get an expensive bait. And when they get it, they have expectations for it to perform or hold up.
Kind of case in point. All right, I'm gonna
Be
call
right
my.
back.
All right, now it's Syd's turn. All right, case in point. So this is a Chad Shad that I got from Baitworks.
Yeah.
My buddy actually wanted one for a year. He's like, holy cow, they're in stock. I was like, dude, I'm not in the market to spend that kind of money. He's like, well, I can, but my wife can't find out. He's like, so what if I order 2? Then I'll ship them to your house. Then you can borrow them for the opens, but then I'll get them back. So that's what happened. So we got it. We got a handgun case. Yep. And I know these exist now, but this is how big this Chad Shad stuff is now. We got the handgun case. Then we cut the foam out of the handgun case with a slot for each one. And then before every open, I go over to Juice's house and I pick up the case with the Chad Shads in it, closes it up, and when I'm ready to throw one, I tie it on. When it's off, I pat it dry, put it back in the case, and then this case sits in the boat. I mean, you got guys like this all over that are doing this stuff with this bait. So it's a very passionate group.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for a lot of the guys, this might be the most expensive bait they own, whether it's the SPRO version or the ones, the handmade ones. So, and for some guys, I don't know how some guys do it. I mean, they'll bang one of the resin ones off a dock and be like, well, got to order another. You know, it's like some guys, they just don't care, and they're going to put it where it needs to be to catch fish, and other guys are going to baby them. So,
you have like 5 or 6 different versions that you make. You have a crappie that's incredibly popular. You have some different sizes of the shad. I know, Syd, you talked about how the SPRO is based on the Chad Shad, which is a 7-inch kind of slow sink bait, probably the most popular. But and I've seen this question: is there plans to expand the lineup with SPRO? I know there's rods, reels, all sorts of stuff that goes along with this. Like, where are we going collaboration wise with it? I know we haven't even gotten the Chad Shad in everybody's hands yet, but are there visions for expansion too?
Yes.
Nice lead in there, by the way. All right. That's what I was going to go get.
I thought you were going. I saw a rod in the preview, and I was like, you know what? I'll throw him the softball. So I didn't know you actually had the rod that said it on it. You got the rod that says it on it.
Yeah, I need as many softballs as I can get. Yeah. He's got one too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Kevin, I'll let you kind of harp on this a little bit, because this was your design, and you kind of introduced us to the guys that are making this. So this was your deal.
All right. Well, yeah, on the rod, KGB Swimbaits, we have our own series of rods. We've got 2 different models, but they're a little bit, I guess I've gone so far down the rabbit hole that these are very specific rods. They're not your everyday swim bait rod. They've got really long handles. Everything's designed for a purpose on these. And I just happen to be really lucky that there's a factory in my hometown that we were using. And I'd been working with them for 10 years. I knew the owner. I mean, it's just kind of a small town thing. And I didn't realize how capable his factory was when it first started. I just went in and asked them for a favor if they could build me a special rod, because swim bait rods were not easy to come by in Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas, 10, 12 years ago. You had to order one or just kind of make something work. And so I went to them and I said, hey, think you can make me something? And they did. And that kind of started that relationship. And then they went on for about 8 or 9 years. It got really dialed. I had a rod that I was like, you know what? The business is starting to get there. I was ready to go in and do some rods. Well, the factory shut down for a while. And it was almost 1.5 years that it was shut down. And then I was just looking one day, I got curious again, and I was like, I wonder if anybody's going to buy that, because that was a big job supplier for my hometown anyways. And I just happened to start looking, and I found out that it had been purchased, and I did all the research I could. I found a Facebook page, and it had a number. I mean, that's all it had, a phone number and a logo. And they were very it spent 2 or 3 days trying to track down who bought this and what their plans were and all that stuff. And finally got a hold of him and called him and left a voicemail. And he called me back later that day. And they said, yeah, we actually just took ownership like a couple weeks ago. And we're going to be opening up the doors pretty soon. And he said, we saw your file from, we saw that you had a couple rods made here, and we're really interested in that. And I was like, well, yeah, I have. And I said, I still got some. Do you think when you get the ball up and going again that you could kind of mimic what they previously made here? And that started that relationship where we built the rods for KGB Swimbaits. And then the whole SPRO deal came along, and first it was the bait, and then Syd offered the rod thing. And I kind of had one thing, the baits being made overseas and all that stuff. I wanted to keep something here in America, and I didn't know at the time where SPRO stood on that. I know a lot of the stuff is overseas, but I wasn't sure how flexible SPRO was going to be with that and how flexible Syd was going to be. And I told him, I said, man, I don't want to double dip. I don't want to work. I already work closely with this factory here. I don't want to go and give ideas to a new factory and be double dipping. Like, I'm kind of loyal to these guys. And so Syd molded around, and it didn't take long at all. And he said, you know what? Yeah, we'll use that factory. Like, if that's your factory of choice, then that's what we're going to do. And so it was really, really cool to see SPRO partner up with a U.S. company here, helping supply jobs. I mean, the factory would have jobs anyways, but it's funneling and focusing some on a small town American company. And so I already had a really good relationship with the guys at the factory who helped design and build these rods. And I told them what I was looking for. They came back with a handful of samples, and at this point, they already know like what I like. Like they built that relationship on rods, and what we spent hours and hours on the phone. I meet these guys every week. Like at that point, sometimes we'd meet 2 and 3 times a week. And so they already had a really good idea of what I would like. And they brought me a couple samples, and they had already narrowed down. They just brought me, I think it was 2 or 3 samples. And to get to those 2 or 3 samples, they had already gone through like 40 different rods to bring me 3 and said, here's our best 3. Which ones do you like? And so went through it, picked the best blank that I liked, and then we started changing the handle length and doing a few things, and we ended up with what I feel like is a phenomenal rod. It's going to be a good rod. It's going to be a good rod that the hardcore swim bait guy will buy and appreciate, especially it's so lightweight. It's more of like a finesse swim bait for the hardcore guys. But then for your average Joe who's never picked up a swim bait before and he's wanting a rod, this is an amazing setup to get started into it. So it's kind of bridging that gap that I think is kind of been missing, and it fits the bait really, really well.
Price point on that then, Syd? Do you have that dialed in yet?
They're actually $279.
Okay.
So but it's an American made product. It's all bougie guys. We did it right. They do have a 1-year warranty on the rods. They will be going up for sale very soon. As you can see, I already have them in stock. We're excited about this. We're very excited about this.
I mean, this sounds like a friggin' good old American success story that started in a garage and is supporting a family and had a couple of fortunate bounces and a couple of guys who were on the ball and took advantage of it. And right now it seems like everything is freaking rolling. Like, this is a feel good story. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean, that's the way it should be. This is fishing, man. This is what we should, I think so many times we get bogged down in our day-to-day lives and day-to-day things that are going on. And it's good. I feel like it's a good relationship and a good deal that we have going on here, and it helps both of us. So, that's the way it should be.
A lot more questions still, Syd. And then if it's okay, I'm going to let you go. And I have some questions for Kevin. Are you good for I got to take a break, and I just have Chad Shad questions. Are you cool for a quick segment, Kevin, on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as little man
but
is,
Syd,
he's happy.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's taking care of the lawn people now. a lot of people asking like, hey, I know they're going out, but it's still not in stock. It's selling out as soon. Is this something that it's going to eventually catch up, and then you'll eventually be able to go into a retailer and pick them up off the shelves, and you just have to keep your eye on it? They are going out, still not fully caught up though, right? So it's still possibly a little bit more patience required to get your hands on the SPRO version.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just making sure because you said something about talking to Kevin.
No, that's after this question. After this question, we're kicking you out, and then I'm asking all the questions I've ever wanted to know about the KGB.
Yes, there's no plans for us to slow down making these. We're making as many as we can. When we get caught up, hopefully you can go to just about any of your higher end retailers and be able to find this bait. It may not be in every gas station in America, but we would love it to be. But I think that this is going to be in just about, every tackle store that you're going to want to shop at.
That's good stuff. Sid, any other things that you want to get across here before we kick you out and we start asking random swim bait questions?
Not really. Just thank you for everything. The guys that have purchased our bait so far, thank you. You're doing, you're helping us out too. So we do appreciate that. And just be patient. We're trying to get more and more baits out, and you will start to see more and more coming in the next few months.
Fantastic. All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to kick Sid out. And when we come back, I want to get into with Kevin the weird, wild, and wacky things that guys have done to try to get their hands on some of your baits. I've wanted to do this segment for a long time. So it's BTL. It's BTL. I got to make sure. Yeah, it's Wednesday already. Holy cow. We're already halfway through the week. BTL on a Wednesday. Syd Rives, SPRO. Guys, keep your head up. Keep your eyes open. That KGB Chad Shad 180 Glide is on the shelves now. We'll be back with Kevin Brightwell, the owner and creator of KGB. There it is, right there in the package. All right. Look at that. More in the package. All right, we'll be back right after this.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Basscat. Feel the rush.
Everything you need, one legendary brand. Top on all. Strike King.
So I'm a big guy, a lunker, a two-sandwich eating kind of man. And on behalf of all of those bigger, I gotta say it once and for all, it's bad enough that the fish look smaller in our hands. The last thing we should have to worry about is getting quality outdoor clothing that fits. AVCO, any fish, any water.
I'm the kind of guy that never leaves a house without a pocket knife, and Gamakatsu's come out with the EDC series of knives. EDC stands for everyday carry, so whether you're on the water or off, you can always have it with you. The best thing about it to me is that assisted open feature. With this D2 blade, you've got it right here at your fingertips, so if you can't find your scissors, you need to cut a knot, you need to cut your braid, you've always got it. Make sure you check it out. Never leave home without your Gamakatsu EDC knife.
Born in Japan, using technology, innovation, and precision, Sunline produces the widest selection of fishing lines at the most technologically advanced line factory in the world. Manufactured at the strictest tolerances to produce victories at the highest levels of tournament bass fishing. From household names like Christie, Swindle, and Cruz, to young guns like Cook, Logan, New, and Welcher, they all trust Sunline to take them to the top of the leaderboard. Choose the line that will give you the strength to guarantee your confidence. Sunline.
All right, welcome back, BTL. I said I was going to kick Sid out, but I'm going to bring him back in and put him on the spot. Look at that look of shock and amazement. All right.
I was on my phone.
we like to do giveaways on
talking to
BTL.
him.
So like I have a question, and if the answer is no, it's no. But everybody's like, oh, when we get to hands, I know it's hard to do. Is there any way you could send me one of the new SPRO Chad Shads, and we could do a giveaway for the month of June for something related to that? To just one of them, just one. I know they're hard to get. You're sending them out.
I saw Kevin had one. He's got one over there. That shouldn't be a problem.
Okay, we'll do that, and then we'll have. I know we got
secret stash.
Okay.
Of ones that does it have to be brand new in the package, or can it be fished with it?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, it might even be more if it's fished with. Jeffries is coming in studio next Tuesday night. He's making his new return live first show in the studio at my house, and we're doing some giveaways here. We're giving away some stuff. So if we could throw one of the SPRO Chad Shads, I'm not even gonna go there as far as giving away a real Chad. Those things are literally like gold. Like that would be so. All right, so that's good. I'll get with you after this, Sid.
Yeah, bring it.
All right, see ya. I mean, you can stay on if you want to. You want to stay on for the next segment? You're welcome to.
No, I'll just stay. Hey, you can put me in the hurt locker or whatever backstage.
The hurt locker?
Yeah.
We need a sponsor for that. All right, let's go. Let's go. Chad said. So, dude, this thing is crazy, Kevin. At what point did you realize that you had a monster on your hands? Was there a specific moment? Was there a drop? Was there a batch of baits where you went, oh, holy cow, I'm going to have a tough time keeping up with this?
Yeah. There's not one particular one that stands out. There's not a particular drop that I can say, holy cow, it's still that way. I've got a full-time crew, and it's not huge, but we're getting there. We just hired another guy. He's actually looking forward to meeting him. He's been a long-time fan, lives out of state, and I don't know exactly what his circumstances are to be able to do it, but he kind of put some faith in and started talking and wanted a job, and says, all right, come on. And so he's actually going to be coming in soon. And I hope everything works out good. Sometimes you get too many fishermen and a shop making baits. It can, people, I can see people butting heads potentially, but at the same time, like I have a lot of hope that this is going to work out with this guy. That's getting sidetracked. But I guess what I'm saying is, like, every single day, it's still just shocking. And like, I'm still in the whirlwind of it. I don't know if it's really fully sank in yet. It's been a pretty wild, exciting journey so far.
In your opinion, you obviously intimately know the characteristics, the swimming characteristics of your resin baits compared to the plastic SPRO Chad Shads. Like I said, there's about $120 difference between the two of them. For the swim bait guys that are trying to say, well, what is your opinion on what's very similar, what's different, what are the most important characteristics that both of them have, and then what are some things that each one can do that the other can't?
Right. They are, I would say, and I don't want to undercut the resin baits by any means, but I would say we're at about a 95% match.
Oh, wow. That's good.
On performance. So yeah, I look for, a lot of people have different ways of describing. Since I've been around, it seems like every year there's a new term to describe how a certain bait swims. A couple years ago, the Chad Shad was considered a knife bait. Then it became a cover glide. I don't know. People started saying cover glides or open water glides. To me, I don't classify. I just consider it a glide, but that's just me. And now the new catchphrase on the forums is chopper. It's a chopper. I guess people are, and that's describing how people fish their baits. A lot of guys are fishing these really hard pops or chops or reel turns, and you can do that, and this bait will just absolutely sit there and, as they're saying, chop. It will. It's underwater spook. But then if you get more subtle and like the more time you spend with these baits really will shoot out and glide out, the resin ones and the ABS, the SPRO ones. And you can really get them to glide out. You can do some really cool stunts with them. And the more time you spend with it and give it an opportunity to do everything, they pretty much will. That's what, one of the things I pride myself on is how far out they'll glide. And so for people to be just chopping them, I don't want people to cut themselves short on what this bait can do. Spend some time with it. Get really subtle with how you're doing your reel, and don't always just sit there and chop the bait because that's what you hear somebody else doing. Because you can get these baits to launch out and absolutely just go long, long ways. I take pride in how far they'll go, actually. I know there's other baits that'll glide better or have a different pattern, but I'm really proud of these SPRO baits. They matched up. We went through a bunch of different samples, and I was surprised how quick and accurately these guys were able to replicate what I was wanting. And they actually sent me some of the SPRO baits. Here's one of the early samples. Let me get it in the camera. There's no scales on there. And it's a little bit thicker. The weighting was a little bit off on this, and the joint was a little bit off. But what I was able to do is actually drill the pin out of these samples, make the adjustments at the hinge that needed to be made to get this bait to perform. And then I got the best one that I could possibly get, and I sent it back. I said, copy this exactly. Like, I had to do a few different things on the ABS to modify it, which now that the bait's finished, it shouldn't be messed with or modified.
Mm-hmm.
But these sample ones I had to take a torch and melt some of the plastic and change the angles of the pin and the hardware and all that stuff. But got one that's swimming really, really good and sent it back. And it was tough. That's the first time I'd seen an ABS Chad Shad. And I didn't want to send it back. I was like, no, but I knew it was going to be good. I mic'd it. I measured everything and wrote down the measurements, translated it to Japanese for the designers and all that stuff. And I didn't have to do that, but I did anyways, just to make sure there was no confusion. And, told them exactly what to do. And they sent back another sample. It takes a couple weeks turnaround for them to make those changes and everything. And it wasn't too long. They sent back another sample, and they almost had it almost perfect. Sent it back again with a few more tweaks and sent it back, and it was dialed. And then from there, the action, it was just about shaping up the looks of it. And really, it all came together pretty quick. But as far as how they compare, the ABS one, the SPRO bait, it does sink slightly faster. I've seen some guys say that they sink like a rock, and if they did, they may have got a lemon. I would like to see those baits and see how fast they're talking about. But and really, I'm not experienced. I've gone to the store and picked some of these up myself just to test them. I don't even think Syd knows that. I'll go to the store and buy one just to make sure like the quality's there. I don't want to be sent something directly and then not know what's on the shelf. So I'm buying them off the shelf just like customers occasionally. I'm trying to leave them for the customers, but I want them too. Yeah, they sink slightly faster. They stay down in the water column because of the way we did a few things to make sure they ride a little bit lower in the water column. I wanted them to be a bait that can get deeper. Mm-hmm. The resin baits, most people are fishing those up subsurface. Most guys are. They don't want to let it get out of sight because you don't know what you're going to get into.
As I said, I know why I fish it barely in sight, because I'm terrified of being like, oh no, is that a rope?
And that's how I fish it too. But we wanted to. Yes, Vincent.
I broke it.
You broke it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hopefully you didn't break a swim bait. Oh, you broke the worm.
Did you break the worm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it's a Ned worm.
Yeah. Well, now it's a Ned. Can you say Ned?
Ned.
There you go. But yeah, so I wanted to work the SPRO baits to where they would stay down in the water column a little bit more, and that's something I've been wanting to do anyways, and we got it to do that and perform and keep on track with what they're supposed to do. And so that's really the only difference as far as action that you're going to see that I can say off the top of my head is that the SPROs seem to stay a little bit deeper, and then on the burn, it's a little bit different burn. That's really the only difference that you're going to see. The SPROs have a little bit tighter of a belly wobble, to where the resin, our handmade ones, really cut and stay true. And I tried to get them to do the exactly. Trust me, I went all in. I tried to get them to be exactly, but there's just some differences that I started seeing, and I actually just kind of capitalized. I'd say, you know what, that's different, and I like it. And so I'd be out fishing them and having that little bit of belly roll. You get some flash in there, and with the baits being clear ABS and not the solid resin, that flash kind of works to our advantage.
I found the eye.
You found an eye?
Oh, now we're putting eyes in trick worms. That's some secret stuff right there. You're giving up, Benson. You're giving up the trade secrets now.
That's some secret stuff, man.
We got eyes on trick worms. Hey, is that you?
And you are on there.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So do you
We're
name
talking to him.
all your baits after family members? I'd heard someone mention that.
So, that's something I just kind of did at the beginning, and it really stuck. No, I mean, I've got the legend, we've got the king, all that stuff. I was kind of into the medieval type stuff for a little while. I was kind of geeking out on that. So that's where the king and legend and all that stuff came from. But then the Chad
Are you
Shad,
into
I just did that
LARPing?
because, hey, I'm
Are
going
you
to after
isn't
my
that
brother.
called
He's a big
LARPing?
supporter, big fan. He's always kind of been there for me. So named it after my brother, and then Benson came along, so we had to name one after him. So you want to go inside? Okay. Hey, can you go? And I'll be right there. Okay.
No.
No. Okay.
That's fine.
We're
I
gonna
think
take you
we're
with
okay.
Here, we'll just
That'll work. Do you have like do you literally make them out of your garage, or you have like an actual?
yes.
Spot,
So not the ones everyone's buying online and stuff. I've got a little workshop set up here in my garage so I can work from home and help take care of this guy.
Can we see the workshop at all? Is that like possible just to take a peek at it? I don't know if you have any secret stuff in there. I know this was not planned.
Yeah, I can show you. Let me get him set up again. And
okay.
I found something up in the bedroom.
You did? Okay. Yeah, I'll show you. Give me just 1 second. This is becoming just organic and wholesome at this point.
I love it. This is fantastic.
Wow. Okay. Hey, Benson, I'm going to be right back, okay?
You have your hands full.
Yeah. Well, I kept him up really late last night, knowing that I was going to be doing this, and I thought, okay, he's going to sleep in until 9, 10
It's good
o'clock.
play.
Yeah, no, he did not sleep in.
He seems to be like he's into fishing, though.
He is. So that's the one thing taught him really early not to mess with the hooks and all that stuff. So he knows not to.
I wish I'd learned that. I put one of those Chad Shad hooks directly through my little finger, completely horseshoed it at Toledo Bend. I strapped the rod down and then went to stand up, so I had all the body weight and momentum, and then the rod was strapped down with the Chad Shad completely all the way, so much so that it didn't even hurt. And that's when you know you're really screwed. Is when you look at it and you're like, that should hurt, and it doesn't.
That's when you know, okay, that spliced the nerve.
All right, so this is where the magic happens.
This is some of it. So this is something I set up. So the shop, we moved into a new shop. At least.
We're gonna
lose. Yes, Benson. Okay. Well, I'm gonna talk and walk. So
okay,
I'll give you one little shot at it.
Oh, wow.
So it's literally that small for my garage. But what happened is we leased a location and set up shop. It took a little while to build. And by the time we had all the stations set up, and we leased Benson, I'm working, Bubba.
Two more minutes, Benson, and then he's all yours for the next 15 years.
You need to make it a big tower again? Okay. Can you give me 2 more minutes? Okay. 2 more minutes. He'll be good.
Yeah.
So anyways, set up the new location, and it was a lot bigger than the previous shop we had. But as we started filling the slots and putting machinery where it needs to go and this and that and having the stations, I worked myself out of my own workshop.
Wow.
Like I literally
workshop.
That's 2? Okay. Hold on just 1 second, Bubba. Do you want some water? No. Okay. So that's how ended up back in my own garage, kind of like how it all started. And it's kind of cool because I can sit down and just absolutely focus. With when he's at school, I can sit down and focus and not have any distractions. I've got a guy. Hold on, baby. What?
This sounds like the guy's trying to get Chad Shads from you.
You want me to make
Kevin,
3 cups on the towel?
Kevin, where's my Chad Shad?
Yeah. So essentially, I worked myself out of the own shop, and I'm okay with it.
All right, I'll let you go here. I do want to say, like I said, we talked with Syd, the SPRO Chad Shad's, the 7-inch slow sink baits available retailers across the country. You can still go to kgbswimbaits.com. One of the things that I think is really cool that you do is you do social media drops, but you make a point. You understand some guys work third shift, some guys works on weekends, some guys work. So you do random drops, and I'm assuming this is still how you're doing it, but you do random drops on the social media. They go live on the website. They're usually gone within minutes, whether it's the Legend, the Smooth Shad, the Chad Shad, the Crappies, the Bensons. You kind of let people know a little bit in advance. Then you do the drop, you get them on the website. You also do some custom painters. I think you do some stuff with like Bait Works and a couple Arkansas tackle shops that'll occasionally get drops at them. But if you want one of the resin ones, that's the best way to do it, is to follow you on all your social media platforms. Pretty succinct way to say it.
Yeah, pretty much. We announce on the website, or we announce on the, hold on, Ben. So we announce, sorry, a little distracted.
It's all good.
But no, we announce on the social medias what we're going to sell and when we're going to sell it. We've started announcing an actual time, and then we load it to the website, and it's game on. It's first come, first serve at this point. We have done something that I initially thought I would never do, and that's we've limited one bait per person per drop, and that's to hopefully get more baits in more hands of people.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Okay.
Dude, Kevin, I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to let you go. It sounds like you and Benson have a busy day planned ahead.
We are going to have a busy day ahead. So
Benson, thanks for jumping on
Benson's
BTL.
actually been really good. He's given me a lot of time to sit here and chat. So anybody out there with a toddler, they know. And if you don't have one, then maybe one day you will know.
That's a terrifying prospect.
It's amazing. It's the best thing ever.
I know. So. All right. Well, thank you for taking time. Like I said, short notice. I guess I owe you a congratulations. This is cool. It's cool to watch a dude work his butt off. There you go. Work his butt off and is getting the payout now and is right in the middle of something really cool.
Well, thank you. It's been a heck of a journey.
All right. See ya.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See ya. Sid's still there. Let's bring Syd back in. What about that, Syd?
I've got a 3-year-old at home. I know that whole entire playbook. I know the 3-year-olds.
This dude seems to be as like legit and real as it gets, man.
Yeah, he is. He's an awesome guy. I mean, I haven't gotten a chance to fish with him yet because we've both been really, 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 really busy doing a lot of other things. But my camera guy did, and he fished with him for 2 days and absolutely loved it. And man, he just seems like he's a genuine guy who loves to fish, and just one of the dudes, one of the guys.
I mean, there's endless opportunities here. I mean, this drop seems to be going swimmingly, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's endless opportunities here with SPRO, the reputation they have for kind of the high-end baits. Obviously, everyone thinks bronze eye frog, mixed stick when that comes in, real high quality, high end, good gamakatsu hooks on it. But the baits, and this just seems to fit perfectly into that kind of sports professional's profile.
Yeah, it happened the right way. I mean, it wasn't forced, and that was what was kind of cool about it. A lot of times you got to kind of, with some of the anglers, you've got to kind of say, hey, look, we want to design a bait with you. What are we going to design, and how are we? What do you want? All that kind of stuff. With him, it wasn't like that. He was like, this is exactly what I want. This is the build. You're going to do this, 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 and this, and I want it to do, a certain action, a certain thing. It was great to work with him. He was extremely easy to work with, and understanding, when we couldn't get the baits. So it's been a good little deal.
Color wise, how many colors did you guys come out with?
We came out with 5 to start with.
Okay.
So we're going to add at least 1 or 2 new colors. And then I'll go ahead and plug it. We've got some stuff in the works for the Classic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Grand Lake Classic? Are we going to have a Grand Lake color drop?
Yep. And it'll be something that'll only be available at the Classic.
No way.
So, yep. So it's going to be something that we're doing with this, and I think guys are going to love it. Could be some custom rock crawlers and maybe custom mixed sticks too. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be a good little deal for us.
That's good stuff, man. All right. Anything else you want to get in here?
No, just look for the new rods. The new rods will be dropping probably any day now. So you'll start to see them in some of the retailers, and make sure you go and ask your local retailer about the rods if you're interested in them, because rods are one of those things that you probably should look and feel it before you buy it. It's just everybody has different preferences, but we made this rod to Kevin's specs for swim bait fishing, and it is a versatile rod. You could also throw an A-rig with it, and you could throw any swim bait under 3 ounces, you should be fine throwing this rod.
I will say that the swim bait guys that I fished with, they all have that setup for their swim bait, and they have the rod cover on it, the reel cover, they put fresh line, and it sits in the rod box. So when it's time to throw it, they ain't cutting off a Carolina rig and tied it on. Although they have one dedicated one. You can do it anywhere from $300 for the rod and reel combo all the way up to $2,000. Just depends on what your heart desires for it. But it does make the process a lot easier, allows the bait to work properly, reduces the chance of the freaking left field home run ball where the bait just keeps going. Like, that's a big thing too when you match it up.
Matt, that is one thing people need to understand is it's very hard if you just pick up your flipping stick and you think you're going to throw a swim bait on it, especially a treble hook swim bait on it. It's a whole different ball game.
You're going to send that bait into orbit if you use the rod. You're burning the line. You're putting more stress on that line without the action. And I mean, like I said, you send a couple Chad Shads into orbit, and now you've already just paid for a rod that would have prevented that whole thing from happening.
Absolutely. And not to mention your shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of good stuff out there.
So
it's good stuff. All right, Syd. Greatly appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem.
Also, shout out to Kevin. Thank you very much for jumping on. We're going to take a final break. When we come back, I want to talk about some interesting stuff going on with the BPT this upcoming week at Cayuga Lake, the catchway release, allowing these guys to actually fish this tournament. We're also going to talk a little bit about the All-American that kicked off today on Lake Hartwell, and some special deals going on with Pro Guide batteries through the 4th of July. So BTL on a Wednesday, Kevin Brightwell, KGB, Syd Rives, SPRO Gamakatsu. We will be back to wrap things up right after this.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Get the best patterns backed by tournament data. Start by finding the best 10% of your lake. Know exactly what to look for and what to throw. After that, just put them in the boat. Try the Deep Dive app today.
Look at that beast right there.
Have you considered purchasing new electronics for your rig? The type of mounts you choose to protect your investment should be part of the decision-making process. No matter if you prefer 1, 2, or 3 graphs up front, Beatdown Outdoors has a solution for you. Adjustable, versatile, rigid, and made in the USA. What's your ultimate electronics setup? Check out the full selection of Beatdown Outdoors products by visiting beatdownoutdoors.com. Shoreline Boat and RV, dock rash, storm damage, collision repair, that deep scratch or gouge from trying to access that secret creek. Shoreline Boat and RV can get your prized possession back in mint condition and looking good on the water, fast. All repairs are done in-house, so they're able to get your boat or RV back to brand new, quickly. All Shoreline's work comes with a rock-solid warranty. Find out more at shorelineboatandrv.com. Kansas City, Austin, and Tulsa.
Having confidence in your tackle while on the water is one of the main things to success, in my opinion. In the last couple of years with Denali, I've had just that. From anything from spinning rods, casting rods, tungsten products, even now to casting and spinning reels, I have the confidence to go out there and get the job done and know that all my equipment is going to handle it and do it just the way I want it. The thing about Denali is you've got great quality products at a great price point, so make sure you check them out.
BTL on a Wednesday, wrapping things up. Kevin Brightwell, the brain trust behind KGB, and Syd Rives, the brain trust behind SPRO KGB here. Plug with Kazu. He just sent me a picture during the break there. He's like, dude, Kazu and I caught like 20 of these big largemouth on the SPRO Chad Shads last week, so that's cool. I do want to... I think I even have a graphic for this one if I can find where my graphics are. Yes, Pro Guide batteries. You know, they've been a big supporter of BTL. The Pro Guide Freedom Sale going on with the lithiums. I'm running 2 of the 36 AGMs and 2 of the 36 lithiums. One is for starting in electronics. The other is the lithiums are for trolling motors along with the power pole charge. And the only reason I could know what everything done there is because Matt Looney's been on in the past from Pro Guide Batteries to explain it, so I understand how all my power works. But they are having the Pro Guide Lithium 24 M50s for $29.99 free shipping, and then the 36 volt 50 amp hour bundle. I believe that's what that means. 50 AH bundle, $1649.99. 3 of the 24 M50s and a Gen Pro 10X for the charger system, free shipping, ProGuideBatteries.com, May 24th through July 4th. I might have to get Matt Looney on to explain exactly what all that means, but there you go on that. I mentioned something really cool going on, and I need to pull up the email that Joe Pogger, great PR guy for Major League Fishing, sends out. But Cayuga is going to be an absolute slugfest with the BPT coming up. They're going to catch giant smallmouth. They're going to catch giant largemouth. They're going to smash them in the grass. They're going to smash them shallow. They're going to catch them finesse fishing, power fishing, punching, drop shotting. I'm really looking forward to watching this. But one of the cool reasons that they're able to have this tournament is because of the way that New York structures their inland lake seasons. I don't think you can box them till like June 15th, I want to say, or something like that. But you can like catch and release them. So because they do the catch, weigh, release with their best 5, so you're actually going to get to see what these best 5 on Cayuga look like, which last year, I think one of the biggest catalysts in my mind that was like they need to do away with the every fish counts was when that almost 8-pound smallmouth was caught by Dakota Ebear, and it like didn't help him at all because he was back. And I'm like, dude, like, you catch an 8-pound smallmouth like that needs to help your creel. Like it shouldn't just count as 2 4-pound largemouth. So I'm really excited to see this with the 5 bass limit and taking advantage of that opportunity to have an event during the peak time with the catch, weigh, release rules. Also, along those lines on MLF, the All-American taking place today is the first day of the BFL All-American. There's like 50, 60 guys in it with co-anglers from Lake Hartwell in South Carolina. A couple of big names, a lot of big names on that. Jesse Wiggins, Jason Lambert, Jeremy Lawyer, they're all in the field as well as Cade Laufenberg. He's got like 7 BFO wins. There's a bunch of guys who really know how to catch some bass that are in the All-American. So keep your eyes open for the All-American. I do want to reiterate next Tuesday, 7 p.m. We got a really cool series of shows next week. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m., Mark Jeffries in studio. We'll be giving away a Chad Shad. Thank you, Sid. We'll be giving away a Denali Novus Pro Reel, and we'll also be giving away 6 packs of the X Zone Lures Brandon Polinick Signature Series 3-inch Stealth Invaders. Big shout out to X Zone for stepping up and sending some of these really cool baits. Ned, Drop Shot, Swim Bait Head. I think you're going to see a lot of this in the upcoming weeks and months, maybe on Cayuga, Champlain, Thousand Islands, a bunch of stuff like that. So 7 p.m., Mark Jeffries in studio in Shawnee. He'll be sitting right across from me right here where you've seen Matt Steffen and a bunch of other guys sit. And then Wednesday morning, 8:30 a.m. Central Time, I will be live from Shoreline Boat and RV. New sponsor 2023 for BTL. The way this worked out was just crazy coincidence, but one of my really good friends and a hell of an angler, he's won like $50,000 in Oklahoma, including one of the Nichols Marine Tournament Series events. Brock Enmeyer, he's the GM of the Shoreline Boat and RV, has been doing it, I think, probably over a decade now, not here, but up in Tulsa. We're going to be in the shop talking with him about, hey, like, you got a little nick in the fiberglass there. Do you have to worry about that delaminating, or how, is this gel coat repairable, or I got a little bit of dock rash? How do I know if I need working with insurance companies, all sorts of little things that as a boat owner you have to deal with that you kind of put off. Brock deals with that on a daily basis. Shoreline Boat and RV deals with that on a daily basis. And we're going to talk with them about making sure your investment is in tip-top shape. So, all right, what a show today. Like I said, big shout out. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Sid. I really enjoyed that. Something that I wanted to do for a while with that show. And thank you for all the listeners and viewers of BTL. Like I said, I feel like you guys are the most educated fan base in the game. So tomorrow, recorded show, Frank Scalish. He's watching his daughter graduate in California. Congratulations to Frank. Really good show. Can't wait to get that one up. It'll be live 8:30 a.m. on all of the BTL platforms, and then also on the podcast platform. Listen, we've got a lot of new subscribers and viewers over the last 2 or 3 months. It's awesome to see BTL growing. It's awesome to see the attention paid to it in the industry. If you listen on iTunes, and I don't do this very often, but if you listen on iTunes and you have not liked, given a 1 through 5 star review, and left a comment, iCast is coming up. That's how you renew the contracts. Let the companies know that you're listening to BTL, that you enjoy the programming, the content, and the people that we're getting on this show. Leave a 1 through 5 star review. Write something, leave a review on that. We're over 2,000 reviews on iTunes, which is huge. Also, like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube channel. That is big to show growth to the sponsors, to continue support for BTL. So if you are watching this, you just have to have a Google account, log in through that, and then you're able to like and subscribe to BTL. I know we're doing some random shows now. We're doing some evening shows. Like I said, on next Tuesday with Mark Jeffries. One of the ways that you can never miss a BTL is to hit that subscribe button. It's a little bell in the corner of the YouTube. That way, it'll come to your phone, it'll come to your computer, it'll send you a notification. Hey, BTL is live. That way, if you want to watch it live, if you want to interact with the show, you don't miss a show. And then also leave the comments on that. So much appreciated. A little bit long-winded there at the end, but hey, it is what it is. All right. Tomorrow, Frank Scalish, day 4 recorded show. I'm actually going spotted bass fishing this afternoon. I'm looking forward to it. Brand new lake in the area. Never been. Heard there's some decent spotted bass in it. Got the drop shot, got the Ned rig, got the shaky head. Maybe there'll be a top water bite. It's a little overcast. We'll see. Later.